Alright, hello, welcome back. I thought today we would paint another airplane. I've got a Japanese Zero. They're kind of a really cool World War II plane. Just thought we'd give it a little shot. Okay, I've kind of got mine sketched out. And I guess what we're going to do is we're going to put in some nice color. It's got a nice lot of grays and actually a few yellows in here. And then we'll put a nice blue background on it. Be real nice. So, I'm working from a old travel palette today. This is a Van Gogh travel palette. And I'm just going to grab an old brush here, Winsor Newton University brush. I'm going to start with, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to start with a little gray here. I'm going to put in this palette. Let's see, right about here, you can probably see what I'm doing. I'm just going to make this real thin. I'm going to start by just laying down a little bit of color here. I'm probably going to come back and make this a little darker. Probably. We're definitely going to come back and make this a little darker. We can go into cowling here. That won't matter. As long as we don't touch our silver here, I think we'll be okay. And like I said, I'm going to get a little of this ochre color. I want a little bit of color through the body of this plane other than this nice gray. And of course this is Payne's gray, a nice neutral gray that we're going to use. I'm going to go right over top of our red zero symbol for right now. We'll paint right over top of that when we get to it. And I'm going to paint, for the time being, really lightly right over top of those windows too. And the airplane that I'm looking at actually has a few really white stripes on it, so I'm going to leave those as white as I can get them. Just blocking in some real basic color here. A little bit of, maybe a little tiny bit of lemon yellow back here just to make it a little different. That might be too bright, but a little gray, I'll knock that back. Alright, we got our basic color on here already. That was pretty simple. Now I'm going to take that same gray, I'm going to darken it just ever slightly. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of a blue tint in it. And I'm also going to get a little thinner brush. Here we are, and I want to go right across the bottom of that wing. I want that to stand out. I want our wing, the leading edge of that wing, to really stand out. I'm just going to bring that way on down. If it extends all the way to the end of that wing, that's fine. Just going to spread that out like that. In fact, I might go back with it just a touch darker, knowing that this is going to lighten as it dries. I want to make sure I've got a nice full color right on the bottom, right there. There we go, that's nice. A big, nice straight line. Nice dark rich color on there. Really nice. Really nice. Since I've got it on there, I'm going to try to put just ever so slightly a little bit on the tail wing. That's a little damp. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to paint the front of this while we're waiting for that. I've got a little bit of a exhaust right there I don't quite want to paint. Now our picture, my picture, if you can't see it, has a nice light reflection here. I'm going to paint over what I think that is right now, and I'm going to try to block out a little bit. And then I'm going to go back over it when I'm done. Let me just turn this 1 second. I'm real sorry. Alright, I want to paint right around this. There we go. I'm going to change the color slightly and then paint on the inside. I'm going to go back. I've just got a regular colored pencil. I'm going to go back in on this where we pull that color out, and I'm gonna generate or highlight that way. I'm not gonna try to leave it there necessarily and paint around it. I didn't draw it in. I could just as easily have drawn it in. I didn't. That's okay. Alright, there we go. I've got that. Now I said I was going to take that out. I'm just going to take a brush, a dry brush, and pull it out a little bit, dry it off again, pull some out, just about like that. Perfect. I think that's just about perfect. And I'm going to give a little bit of darkness right at the top up here and let that fade down. I think I'm going to use almost straight off the palette. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. Really going to make this seem rounded. Alright. Oh, I forgot to do our other wing over there. We'll just put that in real quick. There we go. Got a few darker colors in it, but I think we're going to be okay with it right here. Good. I do kind of want to make that leading edge just ever so slightly darker. Wow, I didn't quite want it that dark. That's good. We'll take it. We can always, just tapping my brush on my paper here, we can always lighten that up just ever so slightly. If I can just come back here, I just want to make this, just want to make sure this really stands out, this leading edge right here. Something like that. I get my brush just ever so slightly damp. Come back and blend that in just like that. Add just a little bit of extra color there. Okay. Now I'm going to get a red color here, and I'll mix it with a little orangey red, reddy red. I don't actually know what these two colors of red are. They're reddish. This one is more orange. That one's more dark red. Come right back on the top of this. You'll see if we use this paint fairly strong, it'll go right over the top of that. We won't have a thing to worry about. Perfect. And I used two slightly different colors on it. Let's see, I'm going to give a little red over here. And I know we've got some red somewhere on the wing over here. Red is such a strong color. I don't want it quite that strong on the wing. I'm going to take just a little bit off of there. There we go. I think that's better. Now in my windows, I'm going to take a little of this cerulean blue. It's going to mix with that gray a little bit. And I'm doing this just because I know that my background sky is going to be some of this blue. I'm going to mix a little bit of the ultramarine in with it. Just to break it up a little bit. Mix just about like that. Let's see. Get our windows. Just square. They don't have to be perfect square. It's mostly square. Alright. I'm going to let that sit and dry for the most part. I'm going to come back in and I'm going to get a really nice wet wash in here. And you've seen me do it before. I'm going to put a big sky on here. See, nice and wet. I'm going to start up here. Now the thing about the sky this way is I don't want it to be too dark. I don't want it to be too full. I want to leave it a little bit weak and watery like this because I want the focus of this to be the airplane. I want the airplane to stand out as much as it can. If I make that sky too dark, then I've lost it. Then everything blends together. And the airplane is already pretty light, so I need to leave my sky be pretty light. And on this sky, I'm going to put a little bit of this ultramarine blue in there, but I'm going to leave it mostly this cerulean blue. I'm going to leave a lot of white in there, and it's going to look like we've got some clouds. We can't really, they're not really super defined, but it'll look like there's some clouds in there to the eye of anybody who's just glancing at this. And that's the one really neat thing about watercolors, is that you can paint how you think it's going to look, but when somebody looks at it for the first time, their own brain is going to interpret a lot of things that for you might be either really good or really bad. Your job as the artist is to make it really good for you, so they really like your artwork. But just focusing on big shapes and concepts and ideals and whatnot will allow you to make your painting just detailed enough, just good enough that when somebody looks at it, they're going to fill in just the right details. There we go. And they're going to look at it and go, wow, that's really good. Alright, I'm going to leave, good. I'm going to leave a lot of the white space in there. I'm going to come back into my gray, and I know this cowl is pretty dark up here, so I really want to kind of darken this up a bit. I want to make this edge nice and dark. I want this to stand out a little bit more than the rest of the plane. Not too much, but a little bit more. And I'm going to paint a little bit up here on the top edge, and then I'm going to let this bleed down. Only this time I'm going to stay away from our little bit of highlight area right there. I should put my pad of paper over there, what I used to dab that off with. Alright, I'm going to paint inside here. I want this to be really dark in here. Darker anyways than the surrounding. Alright. Let's see, what else do we have on here? I'm going to take a little tiny brush. I'm going to get some of this dark. I might not get it too dark. Just a gray line. And this is a really tiny brush, you can see. And I'm going to go back over some of these lines. I don't want them to stand out quite this much. I'm going to put just some indications of lines in these windows here. Might have to darken it just a touch. Just like there's ever such the shadow on some of these windows that you can see in there. A couple of lines on the plane. Maybe something's written right there, but we can't quite read it. Right? There's stuff written on the tail fin. There's always stuff written on the tail fin. Well, usually a number. I don't think we're going to put in a number this time. I'm going to put in, let me get back to my little bit bigger brush. I guess I neglected to do this, and I want to water down my gray just ever so slightly. And I've got a shadow that comes up here from this wing. I've got to make it arc. It goes around the bottom of the airplane. There we go. Just like that, from the bottom of our wing here. Maybe you can see the front edge of that. Good. Whoop. Let's see, what else do I need to do? I'm going to soften this just slightly. Here we go. And while I'm waiting for some other stuff to dry, I'm going to see if I can bring this up just a little, make it shine, just look like it'll shine just a little bit more. My paintbrush is rolling away on me. And, whoops, I know I need a little one. I think I'm gonna try to do, let's see if I can do this, is right around this edge. I want just a little bit of detail right around here, so it looks like there's some definition on the cockpit. This will look like there's some rivet lines or something like that on the plane. Something goes through there. Alright. And we've got one other thing. I'm waiting for this to dry. Oh, I've got my silver of this that I need to do. I want that to be totally different from the rest of the airplane. So I'm going to take a little bit of this blue. And I'm going to take a little bit, I have a little bit of red there. I'm going to mix these, and that will make a nice gray that's a little different than the others. And I'm going to bring that color up ever so slightly with a little bit of yellow. Oops, that's a little too red. It's okay, we'll just mix a little bit of more blue in there. Better. Now we've got our own custom gray color right there. Looks totally different, and if you were to see that, you might say that's nice and shiny. I need to take just some color off here, because I know that if the sun is glinting off of this part of the airplane, it's probably glinting off of that part of the airplane. I'm going to dry that off, and on the bottom I'm just going to drop a little bit of color on the bottom. Let it run up. Actually, I'm going to tell it to run up over there by grabbing a little bit of it. I think I grabbed a little too much. Let me see if I can get that just a slight bit. Well, that's too dark. Well, I think that's going to be good. The only thing we have left to do on our airplane here is put on a propeller. And I'm waiting just a little bit because I don't want to run over top of this color, which is still wet. I think what I'm going to do, I definitely want this to be gray. I don't think I want that red in there. I'll put a little bit of blue. Okay, let's see, if I put one here, I make this runny. Let's see if I put one here, like this, and one here, like this. Your mind is going to tell you, I got a little too much paint, and one up here, just enough to see it. Yeah, see, it ran right through there. That paint was just a little too wet. That's alright. I want to darken this just a touch, It's gonna look, your brain is gonna tell you, or the viewer's brain is gonna tell them that propeller is there. We put it in real light, real soft, all the way around, and it'll tell them that propeller is in motion. It's going to look like it's moving around. And there you go. There is my interpretation in watercolor of a Japanese Zero. I hope you liked it. If you did, give a like to the video. I'd love for you to subscribe. I put up a couple of videos a week. Love to see you back here at my channel. If there's something you'd like to see, let me know, and I'll be happy to try it out for you. All right, thank you.